Hey everyone, I hope you're doing good. In this video, we are going to look at a problem that is very frequently coming in the ICSE question paper, and it's based on a series problem. So you can get some series like problem. So in the playlist, I'm already discussing about the most probable type of questions that are coming in the ICSE question papers. So one of the very frequent type is a series type. And the other types that I have talked about in the other videos are the slab calculation, if-else if logic, array-based problems, and other types of problems are also discussed in the other videos. Now in this video we are going to talk about the series problem. In this series problem you can see the first term is having the sum of the natural numbers in the numerator and the product of the natural numbers in the denominator. तो ये देखिए ना, ये कितना तक चलता है, ये n टाइप चलता है, n टर्म्स तक चलता है. तो the first term is having 1 plus 2 in the numerator. The denominator of the first term is having 1 into 2. In the second term we have 1 plus 2 plus 3 in the numerator, and we have 1 into 2 into 3 in the denominator. So we are basically having the product in the denominator. Okay. So likewise we have to calculate up to the n. Up to n we have to do the sum of the natural numbers, and up to n we have to do the product of the natural numbers. So basically the denominator is the factorial and this is the sum of the natural numbers. So we would basically break our problem into three parts. Now breaking a problem statement into parts is very helpful in solving any kind of problem. So the first part that I want to break is calculating factorial of any number. I would input a number and I would get the factorial of that number that I can reuse in the denominator part. And the next part I would break the problem into the sum part that I would give. If I would give n, then I would be returned with a value that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n. So this would be giving us the sum of the first n natural numbers. And the third part of the program, as usual, it is the part that is taking the input and calling these methods to generate this s. Whatever s we have, that series sum would be generated inside this method input. So basically I am going to break this problem into three methods as mentioned here. Now let's begin without wasting any time. First let me write the code and then I would explain you as I go along. So the first part I am going to write the factorial part. So it would be a factorial method that is going to return an integer. The integer is the factorial of that number n that I am going to give that is input. So as I have also discussed this in the other videos, you can see that the factorial logic is that we have to start a number from 1 up to that number, and we have to do the product of the numbers, of the natural numbers, right? So f equals to f into I, and that I would return in this method. So basically this method is responsible for the factorial, finding the factorial of the number. So see the first part, first block, whatever I have broken this problem into, the first block says that it would take n as an input and return the factorial of that number as an output. So here you see that I have given n in the input parameter. The name of the parameter, name of the method is fact. So this is an identifier. And what is the return type of the method? So that is end. Okay, this is very probable question that what is method signature and method prototype. So the first line of the method is the method signature. So this is called the method signature. Since we are writing a code, a method that is going to return us the factorial, that is an integer. So the return type is integer here, okay. And see, after that I have opened the curly braces, and inside the method this is the body of the method. So I have taken f equals to 1, that is going to compute the factorial of that number n. So to generate these numbers like 1, 2, 3 up to that number, I have to run a for loop. The for loop is starting with the initialized value from 1 up to that number n, and it is incrementing by 1 plus 1. So the first value in the first iteration would be 1. So f would be f into 1. So 1 would be stored in f. Then i's value is getting incremented by 1. So i's value becomes 2, then f would become 1 into 2. In the third iteration it would become, I would become 3 because I have I plus plus, and then it would become f is equals to f into, now the previous value of f is 1 into 2, now it will become that 1 into 2 into 3. So likewise it is going to compute the factorial up to that number whatever I have given as input. If it is 3, then I would be getting 3 factorial in f, and that would be returned. If I input the number as 4, I would be running this loop up to 4. That means f would be giving us 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Okay, 4 factorial that I would get returned from this method. So basically this method is working to find out the factorial of an input number. Next, we would write the sum method that would take input n and return the sum of the first n natural numbers. If you are writing this code, please take a screenshot or write that code, and I would erase that. Now for the next method, I would make that as sum, and I would change the variable name as s, and here I have to do the sum. So the initialized variable value would be 0. Sum always starts from 0 because we don't have anything to get initialized with, but for product we have to initialize the factorial variable with 1, because anything multiplied with 1 gives that number only, but if anything multiplied with 0 would give us 0. So that's why for f we cannot initialize with 0. Okay, here we have to do the sum s plus I, and we would return s. So here also the method is returning an integer value, so we have to keep the return type as int. It is taking a number n as input and finding the sum of the first n natural numbers. Likewise, in the previous block we were finding out the product, so we had f equals to f into I, but here we are supposed to find the sum, so we are writing as s equals to s plus I. So when i's value is 1, s plus I means 0 plus 1, 1 is stored in s. When i's value gets incremented by 1, the value becomes 2, and then s is equals to s plus 2 means 1 plus 2. Then after that, when i's value further increases by 1 because of I plus plus, and then if the condition is satisfied, the body of the loop would execute and it would become 1 plus 2 plus 3, and likewise. So whatever number you are giving as input, if you are giving 3 here, so s will become 1 plus 2 plus 3. If you are giving 4 as input, then s would become 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and then after that the value would be returned when the loop body completely executes. Till the condition is true, the body of the loop would execute. When the condition is false, the loop body would not execute. Then ultimately the value that we get in s, that would be returned. So this code is basically responsible for the second block, that is calculating the sum of the first n natural numbers. So that is being returned. Now we would combine these two methods, we would utilize that in the input method. So these were our member methods that we are going to utilize that in this method, that would generate this whole sum. Okay, we were just making some machineries that are going to help us in the full process. Okay, take a screenshot or write the code, I would erase that after this. Now this input part you can write in the main method also, because ultimately the main method is going to be executed. So I am writing that in the main method. Now suppose I want to take input n as a console input. Now let me take with the help of the util class. So I would util package, I would use the scanner class. So I am importing java.util.start because I am going to take console input. So scanner sc equals to new scanner system.in. So this is the syntax for creating a scanner class object for taking console input, right? Console input is very important. If you are lacking in this area, please run some code in this area, because it is very much important as per the examination is concerned. Okay, so we have created this scanner class object. Now we are going to take an input n. That n we have to take input from the user. So let's give a prompt to the user, system.out.println enter n. Now it would wait in the console window. Console window is nothing but the terminal window. So when the user enters a number and presses enter, we have to read that from the terminal window and store it in a variable. So I am writing this code for that, to read integer from the terminal window. So next int method is a method provided inside the scanner class. So when we are referring the object sc dot nextInt means this method nextInt inside the object of scanner class sc, we would invoke this nextInt method to read an integer, next integer from the console or the terminal window, that we are storing it in n. So we are done with the console input part. Now what we have to do, we have to generate this sum. Now for that, let me take a variable s where we have 0 as the initialized value. Now we would run the for loop to generate the sum. Now listen to this very carefully, because see the first term, for the first term the loop is going to calculate the sum of the first two natural numbers. When it is first term, we are doing up to 2. When it is second term, we are calculating up to 3. Up to 3 sum of natural numbers, up to 3 factorial. When the term is 3, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term. When the number of the term is 3, we are calculating up to 4. So see, whatever our term number is, plus 1 is our upper limit up to which the sum or the factorial is going to be calculated. So 1 more than the number of the term. So this would be n minus 1. That is why plus 1 would be n, right? So we have to run a for loop from 1 to n minus 1. Okay. So this is 1, first term, second term, third term, this is the n minus 1th term. Okay. There is a little bit of trick that we have to apply for this problem. So I have to start the for loop from 1 and I have to end with n minus 1, because the last one would be incremented by plus 1, so I would get n. Okay. If you are not getting that, please rewind and watch why I am saying that, because it is the first term, so it is running up to 2. So this is second term up to 3. So whatever is the term number, plus 1 is the number up to which the loop would execute for calculating the factorial or the sum of the natural numbers. So that's why I am taking n minus 1. So it would be n minus 1 plus 1, that is n. So see what I am writing in the numerator. The numerator is the sum of the natural numbers. So I would run which method? I would call which method? I would call this method, the sum method. So s equals to s plus. Now I am formulating the term. The term is sum of the first n natural numbers. First I plus 1. This is the natural number part. See, when i's value is 1, I would find the sum of the natural numbers up to I plus 1, means I plus 1 is 2. So I would put 2 here, means I would get up to 2, the natural number sum up to 2. See, when I is 1, I am getting plus 1. So I am doing plus 1. So I am getting the sum of the first two natural numbers, and for product, for the factorial, I have to divide that with fact I plus 1. Okay. Now here only one problem is that in the previous two methods our return type was integer, like int. So as it was int, so integer by integer would give us quotient, because this is the slash operator. Slash operator gives us quotient. So we would not get the complete division output. So what we have to do for that? We have to typecast that integer to double. So for that we have to write s plus double. Typecasting that, we would convert that integer that we are returning from the sum method, that we are typecasting to double. So we are getting as a point number, decimal number, point number. That point number when divided by an integer would no longer give us only the quotient, because since in the slash operator one of the operand is double, so the division would be complete division now. Okay. So to avoid that situation, we are supposed to give a typecasting operator. So that is going to convert the integer to double, because integer is of a smaller size and double is of a larger size. So it is a bigger data type. So in order to convert an integer to a double, we have to explicitly mention, and that is called the explicit typecasting. This is also a very important topic, and you can expect some short question that what is explicit typecasting. So with this demonstration I am already explaining what is explicit typecasting. Okay, thank me later. So for typecasting means converting one type to another. If a smaller data type is going to be casted or converted to a larger data type, we have to explicitly mention some keywords, some data type keywords. So that process is called explicit typecasting, when we are going to convert explicitly by mentioning explicitly. So that is explicit typecasting. So with this we would be able to calculate this sum. So first term would be when i's value is 1, our sum would be calculated up to 2 factorial of 2. I plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 1 2. So this part is done, sorted out. I's value increases by 1. Now i's value becomes 2. So we would again generate the sum, whatever sum was there in the previous iteration, plus the sum of the natural numbers up to 2 plus 1 3. So sum of 3 natural numbers divided by factorial of 3 natural numbers. So we are getting the third term. Then again plus in the next iteration whatever value we obtain plus the third term, where it would be 4, because i's value is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4, 3 plus 1 is 4. So we are getting the fourth term. So in this way we are going to generate this sum, and after the for loop, when the for loop ends, we have to print the sum. So after the for loop we have to print the sum. System out dot println s is equals to plus s, and we have to close the function and the class. So that was the program. Okay, so we have to calculate the sum like this. So what we did, we have broken the problem into two parts. We are not making it complex, writing whole code inside this method. So in the main method we are just calling the previous two methods. Please note one thing, since we are using here static method, our main method is a static, so static we are using. So in the previous two methods whatever we had, the two methods should have static keyword in their function prototype. Note that function prototype is only the method signature. So in the method signature we have to add that static keyword in the method signature of the sum and also for the factorial. So you have to write like this. When you are going to run, you are going to get a syntax error otherwise. So you have to write like public static end fact. So this would be the new keyword that you have to add. Okay, so before running this code, you please add the static keyword in the method signature of the previous two methods whatever I mentioned in this video, fact and sum. For both of them mention the static keyword. Okay, that would work fine. So this is the overall working of how this code and is going to generate the sum of the sum mentioned in the question paper. Okay, now in the next part we are going to execute this video and see the output and see the demonstration also there. Okay, so that's all for today. Meet you in the next video.